I think I realize that every time I say something, after 3 minutes I say exactly the opposite. But
Okay.
that is, they say only intelligent people they change their mind.
All
No,
right.
I have a spiritual approach to that. If you want, we'll talk about it later on.
Absolutely.
The real difference is if you have something deep to say, then the concept of deep is really personal. So what's deep for me can be absolutely boring for you. But I say this because, for example, Lucio Dalla, which is who was one of my favorite Italian artists ever, a genius at singing, at playing, and a genius at facing life with a smile every single day of his life. That's a big lesson to learn to me. He had an album out, and back then you had to buy like audio loops, like drum loops. They were on a CD, they were very expensive. And there was a moment where this, okay, and I say the brand is not, sorry, I hope it didn't click.
Hutch.
There was this CD, it was called Liquid Audio, I guess. Now, all us producers have been using those loops because they were so fresh and new compared to what's the previous available loops. And I heard this, I was saying Frank Zappa, this Lucio Dalla album, and he used exactly loop number 1 for track number 1, loop number 2. So I'm just saying exactly the opposite of what we were saying. I mean, yeah, we were using the same preset, but his music was so beautiful that I enjoyed that even more. He said, look how beautiful it can be.
If used properly.
If you use, exactly, that's the same old point. I mean, if you have something deep to say, if you're making music, to me, there has been a very important moment when I realized that I could work and make a living out of music, so being a musician. And there is a big, like a razor edge. On this side, there is what you think it's called inspiration, being so pure, you only write things you believe in.
Okay.
On the other side of the blade, there is everyday life. So you're supposed to work hard every day. And you're kind of confused in the beginning because you say, how can I be inspired, honest, pure, and wake up at 7 and say, okay, I'll be honest and inspired at 7:30 until 12, then I have a break, eat a sandwich, and then I'll go back to inspiration at 11. But there's a way to do that. It's like the balance we all have to find in our personal, private, spiritual life.
Sure, it's a personal growth.
it
Personal
is.
path that you have to
Exactly.
learn to improve every day. Also, take a step-by-step approach. Improve.
Exactly.
Try to improve every day. Be better at something than you were the day before.
Exactly. And especially when it comes to music, that's really a strange thing, because at the end of the day, you're still talking about emotions, and emotions, they are unpredictable. So I'm linking to what you just said. Maybe, you rehearse today because you have to for your work, and it sounds great. You rehearse again tomorrow and it sounds fantastic. You rehearse the next day and it sounds like shit. And you have to say, okay, no panic, that happens, because when you're talking about emotions, there are so many little nuances involved that all the instruments were set exactly the same way as before, the humidity was the same, the volumes were the same, but maybe something was different inside of you, or maybe inside of someone else. And I guess we all are like sponges, absorbing other people's energy. And sometimes maybe, you have a big problem, we are playing together, you don't want to be boring me, so you are courage and you say, okay, I'll work hard, I will not bother my bandmates. But then you have a low energy. So you start from a good point because you don't want to take the energy down, but at the end of the day you do it. Probably if you
inadvertently.
Exactly. If you probably told us, guy, I'm down because this shit happened to me, how can I do it? Maybe we were just patting you on your shoulder and say, man, think about this like in the next 2 hours, but let's have this gig, let's make it good. And it could have worked better. So it's a big melt of tangible things, rational things, and stardust goes around, and you have to mix them.